Guys, it should be no surprise to you that the Democrats are power hungry. Okay, and basically at this point, big tech has become an arm of the Democratic establishment in order to impose their will, right, on the discourse of American politics, right? Anything that they don't agree with, they don't want you to say it, right? You can't engage in civil debate, right, in which a host of different viewpoints can conversate with each other, and if people agree with it, people agree with it. If they believe, they don't, right? The Democrats fundamentally do not believe in free speech. Okay, and is at the point now that these congressmen, these Democrats, right, specifically, are just begging the big tech CEOs to just flat out kick conservatives off their platform and censor speech they don't like. And at the last pointless big tech hearing that happened a few days ago, you're gonna see a Democratic congressman grovel at the feet of big tech to do their bidding.
You took what a thing and magnified in 12 hours. You got 350,000 people in your site. You gin this up. Your algorithms make it possible to supercharge these kinds of opinions. I think we're here because of what these platforms enable, how your choices, put our lives and our democracy at risk. And many of us just find it just unacceptable. I want to ask each of you another question. Do you think vaccines that have been approved for COVID-19 work? Just yes or no. Do you think the vaccines that have been approved work? Mr. Zuckerberg?
Yes.
Mr. Pichai?
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Dorsey?
Yes, but I don't think we're here to discuss our own personal opinions.
I just want to know if you think the vaccines work. Yes?
Yes, however.
Thank you. Okay, so if you think the vaccines work, why have your companies allowed accounts that repeatedly offend your vaccine disinformation policies to remain up? I mean, according to report, just 12 accounts on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram account for 65% of all the vaccine disinformation on your platforms. You're exposing tens of millions of users to this every day. I don't have the stats on YouTube, but my understanding is it's similar. So my question is, why in the midst of a global pandemic that has killed over 500,000 Americans, that you haven't taken these accounts down that are responsible for the preponderance of vaccine disinformation on your platforms? Will you all commit to taking these platforms down today? Mr. Zuckerberg?
Congressman, yes, we do have a policy against allowing.
Oh, I know you have a policy, but will you take the sites down today? You still have 12 people up on your site doing this. Will you take them down?
Congressman, I would need to look at and have our team look at the exact examples to make sure they violate the policies,
and get back to us tomorrow, because those still exist. We found them as early as last night. Mr. Pichai, how about you?
We have removed over 850,000 videos in
If you remove them all, do you still have people that are spreading disinformation on your platforms? There's about 12 super spreaders.
We have clear policies, and we take down content. Some of the content is allowed if it's people's personal experiences, but we definitely.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dorsey. I see my time is getting expired. Mr. Dorsey, will you take these sites down? You got about 12 super spreaders. Will you take them down?
Yes, we remove everything against our policy.
Guys, how disgusting is that? How disgusting. This guy, Mike Doyle, right, who is a congressman from Pennsylvania, is just begging the big tech CEOs to just censor people that they don't like. Oh my God, Mark Zuckerberg, can you please get rid of the disinformation? Can you please get rid of the super spreaders? Oh my God, Jack Dorsey, what are you doing to kick off speech that I don't like? What are you doing to remove content that we think is harmful? Guys, I mean, this is sad. It's almost like there's not a power grab that the Democrats won't attempt to get. Okay? I mean, you can see they're already coming out with these vaccine passports, right? That, could oppose people's civil liberties, right? Basic things like privacy laws, right to privacy, okay? And that's also being done in conjunction with big tech, right? Because it is thought that this passport could be mobile of some sort. Again, that there's, some speculation in terms of what it can be, but, it's almost like Democrats just don't believe in the Constitution, right? Just rip up the First Amendment and the Second Amendment specifically. Go ahead and get rid of the Fourth Amendment too, right? Get rid of the 10th Amendment. There's no states' rights. The federal government's daddy. Okay? States can't make decisions for themselves. Just get rid of the whole thing. Right? Because, again, we have Democratic congressmen who are begging big tech to censor speech they don't like. And, guys, I don't want to hear the argument of, well, this is your private company, and private companies have a right to do what they want. Yeah, that actually would apply in normal circumstances if this was a decision that was independently made by these big tech media companies. Okay? But that's not the case here. What's happening is that you have politicians, right? People that go to Congress and are supposed to make policy, right? That are begging these big tech CEOs to censor people, right? Again, that's just like having your politician censor you, because effectively Twitter is damn near public forum, right? Again, it's one thing if these decisions were made independent of these politicians, but these big tech companies are being pressured to do it. And the funny part is that they don't even understand how dangerous it is, right? Because it's not like the government or the mainstream media gets everything right. Information evolves over time, right? Guys, we all know all 4 years of Trump in office, they're spreading the Russian collusion conspiracy theory that Trump is some Manchurian candidate, right? Making up all types of stories. The Steele dossier talking about Trump getting golden showers from Russian prostitutes, right? And things like that. Just straight up just making up stuff. Media treated it as fact. A lot of the Democrats on the left just treat it as fact. They continuously push this misinformation with no regard for what the truth is. They know it's not true, but they continue to push it, right? But then they turn around and talk about, well, we got to get rid of misinformation. We got to fight against misinformation. The only misinformation that they're fighting against is information that they don't agree with. That's the only thing they're fighting against. Anything that goes against the establishment narrative, they want to get rid of it. Again, guys, the Democratic Party, I mean, seriously, it just goes without saying that they're probably the biggest threat to our fundamental rights that I can think of off the top of my head. They continuously want to impose one set of views on the American people, right? And they want to paint everybody else that doesn't agree with them as conspiracy theories and loonies when they're the ones that are pushing conspiracy theories too, right? And guys, a lot of these conspiracy theories, and I've told you that, I do the sniff test. If it passes the sniff test, I investigate further. But a lot of these conspiracy theories do end up coming true, right? A lot of them do end up coming to pass. So to censor that type of information when it can potentially be right, in my opinion, is dangerous. Because then at that point, basically, the American people become uninformed. They become ignorant. They're not open to new ideas. The only ideas they're open to and they're exposed to are the ideas that the government wants them to see, right? Kind of like China, kind of like North Korea, kind of like these authoritarian communist countries that have cracked down on the civil liberties of their society. And it's almost like the Democrats want to create an exact replica of that. It's really just sad. If this is how you have to win, which is to crack down on information you don't like, then maybe you shouldn't be in politics. Maybe you should reevaluate your policy positions. Because that, to me, seems to be the main reason why you're doing this. If people want to engage in theories that may or may not be true, let them. Who cares? I would rather, if this speech is truly, if it's truly bad for people to be misinformed, it's not like banning them on these platforms are going to stop people from having these ideas. If anything, it's going to propel these ideas. It's going to make them even more true in the minds of those who believe certain ideas, right? And I would rather have these people be able to speak their ideas out in the open in regards to what they think, whether it's true or not, and engage in public debate, well, at least you have people saying, hey, you know, this might not be true. Here are the facts and data. You know, let's engage in a debate. I would rather have that than to have people be pushed underground, and then the only information they're being fed is truly dangerous and false information, and they're not getting any counter argument to that. But see, the Democrats don't care about that. They don't care that their policy solution, which is to push more censorship, is not really the answer, because all they care about is pushing their narrative so they can win elections and they can take more power and control. Everything is about power and control with the Democrats, because there have been so many things that, again, alternative media and those with alternative points of view have exposed, right? For example, with the Democrats, the DNC scandal, and information like that should be free for people to talk about, right? It shouldn't be something that's censored from society. Because at the end of the day, the role of alternative media, the role of alternative points of view is to challenge the establishment. Because the establishment is not always working in our best interest. Most of the time, they're working in their interests. And their interests are, most of the time, not the interests of the American people. And these big tech companies seem to be in bed with the Democrats monetarily when it comes to the money. So at this point, you know, it's almost like whatever the Democrats say jump, the big tech companies say how high. Because that's what they're doing. And it should be clear to a lot of you guys that a lot of the pressure on big tech to censor is coming from the Democrat Party, and it's coming from their advertisers. That's what it's coming from. What is democratic about censoring free speech? Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And it's funny because once big tech decides that they don't need the Democrats anymore and that they're more powerful than the government, which I'll argue that some of these companies are effectively, then they might turn it back around on them. They might start censoring Democrats. Right? They can censor the president. Why can't they censor a Democratic president or Democratic congressman? They might decide that what you say is misinformation if it doesn't align with their best interest. And then the Democrats will be the ones complaining about, oh my God, big tech is too powerful. We need to break them up. They'll be the main ones complaining. So, like I said, guys, this is just sad and pathetic to see a Democrat just beg and plead with big tech to just censor information that they don't like. It really was sad. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.